Hi everyone, it's John from What Up and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about episode 6 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, The Flame of Tar Valon. We're going to go through it and we're going to pick out all the little Easter eggs and nods to the fans and things you may have missed on your first watch through. Now if you like Wheel of Time content, make sure you click the subscribe button and the notification bell because I'm putting out a ton of it right now, at least 1 or 2 videos every single day. That's news, castings, leaks, and I do a bunch of breakdowns for each episode that comes out. Now, before we get into the video, spoiler warning. Today we're talking about episode 6 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, which means if you haven't seen the first 6 episodes of the first season, I'm probably going to ruin stuff from all of them. And as far as the books go, if you haven't read the entire series, that's book 1, The Eye of the World, all the way up to book 14, Memory of Light, I'm probably going to talk about certain elements and ruin little bits of that here and there as well. Alright, all of that being said, let's get on to the video. Alright, so we're going to go through a couple of Easter eggs I found here in episode 6. These are all either small nods to the book fans or interesting things I found I want to talk about, but by no means are they all of the Easter eggs. So if you folks find any on your own, absolutely let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to do a big video at the end of the season with all the Easter eggs that you folks find that I missed, of course, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to do that. Alright, so in the cold open of the show, we have young Swan here, and she's covered in tattoos, which is pretty neat, and then you have older Swan with even more tattoos. Now, in the book series, she's not really described as having tattoos. However, she's a fisherman's daughter, and she has a lot of affinity for the sea and fishing and whatnot, so it's not a big shock, I think, to see these kind of tattoos, because the only culture that we've really heard about in the books that really has a lot of predominant tattoos is the sea folk. So I don't think it's a big stretch to think that their culture is maybe not directly inspired by, but it takes a few nods here and there to the sea folks. Let me know what you folks think down below in the description, or down below in the comments on that. Why do you think she has the tattoos in the show, and do you think it's a little nod to the sea folk? All right. Now we have this. So we see her father struggling with tying knots because he only has one hand, and then Swan using the one power to help him. Now in the book series, this really wasn't explained in the show too much, but in the book series, wilders often learn to use the one power by basically using it to gain things that they truly want, whether it's the affection of someone, things that they want from someone else, they save themselves or someone they love, they heal someone. In this case, Swan is assisting her father by using flows of air to untie knots because he has difficulty doing so. I think it's a really nice scene to showcase the love between her and her father, and the fact that she is a wilder. She did learn to use the power before she goes to the tower, and I think that is going to become important later on for connections between her and some other wilders that we've already met. Alright, now we have this. This is a dragon's fang scrawled on the burned out remnants of their house. Now in Tyr, basically anything and everything to do with one power is completely feared. Feared so much, in fact, that they hoard objects of power, or things they think are objects of power, in the Stone of Tyr, which is an important plot point in a later book. And that's all because in the Stone of Tyr they hold Kalinor, the sword which is not a sword, which happens to be one of the prophecies used to determine who the dragon is. So the dragon has to draw that sword out of the Stone of Tyr, while the people of the dragon take the stone, which has never been taken by any army ever. So it's a big thing to the people of Tyr. They're really scared of people who can channel. Swan is the right age. She's probably demonstrated some abilities that other people have seen, and they burned down her hut for this reason. Now, for regular viewers of the show who haven't read the books before, this may have been either a little confusing, or they might have just made the correlation themselves, saying, yep, she can channel, they probably didn't like her, but the people of Tyr are absolutely fearful of anything to do with one power, which is why they did this. Now we have this scene here. This is when Moiraine and Alanna leave the Hall of the Tower, and I wanted to include this because Maxim there, not even looking at Alanna, just reaches out and hands her a piece of fruit. This showcases the fact that warders essentially look after their Aes Sedai in all areas of life. They make sure they eat, they make sure they rest, they make sure that they have the things they need. They not only protect them with their sword and their body, but they do other things for them as well. And I think this is just a nice little nod to that here, and I thought it was kind of fun to include. Then we have this. I wanted to talk a bit about this because there's been a lot of discussion about it online. Moiraine says she's healed his connection to the dagger. That doesn't mean that maybe she's fully healed it. So you see her heal in this episode, which is absolutely visually stunning as far as I'm concerned, pull the darkness right out of him and put it back into the dagger, and she says she's healed his connection. Now in the book series, she also does something similar, but she doesn't completely break that connection. He still has the dagger, and he travels with them to Fal Dara, and later on they have to find the dagger when it's stolen and get him back to the tower to be healed. Now I think that this is her saying that she's probably done her best, and there's been a lot of talk about, she completely healed him and he's fine. But it never shows what happened to the dagger, what they did with it, what's going on here. And she does say that they have to watch him because even getting hold of the dagger again could completely destroy him. So I think that this is a small nod. That one little line there is probably a small nod to the fact that Matt is probably going to head back and try to get that dagger, which causes him to have to be healed again in Season 2. That's my guess, though. Let me know in the comments down below what you folks thought. I know it was pretty big scene. I liked it visually. I thought it was awesome. But it does shift the story around a little bit. What do you folks think? All right, now we have this. This is super important. Now we know that a couple of people have been cast that are watching the West Coast. And then we have Magden here saying ships are disappearing off the West Coast. I may need to go west to track those ships' disappearances. This is when she's telling Moiraine she has to stay in the tower permanently. Those ships that are disappearing off the West Coast, most likely are disappearing due to the Seanchan. And I think that we're probably going to see them here in the first season. Maybe not as a big, huge reveal or anything, but I think there's going to be more talk about them, especially when we get into Fall Dare later on in the season. And I think that Magden may go there, and she may end up being one of those Aes Sedai that are captured. Now, I know in the book series, Magden makes it all the way to Saladar, and she's part of the Rebel contingent, and she's part of that whole storyline there. But I think they may do this just to avoid introducing new Aes Sedai in Season 2 when they do meet the Seanchan and realize some of them have been taken captive. That's my guess anyway. Let me know what you folks think down below. It was pretty interesting to see this, though, because I'm like, this is a direct reference to the Seanchan, and I really hope we do see them in the season. Then we get this. Now, this is a message from the Yellow Sister, played by Evelyn Mock, to Moiraine, basically saying to come see her. Now, in the book series, a bundle of yellow flowers tied together by a red band upside down is an emergency signal from Yellow Aja. So I think this is her way of saying, come see me, come see what's going on here, because it's just a bunch of little yellow buds there with, I don't know if that's ribbon or leaves or whatnot, but I think it's a little nod to that sort of communication by the Yellow Aja's eyes and ears, which is not really a great network in the books. All right, so then we have this. This has been the talk of the town. So we have Moiraine using an object in her room with the one power and then transporting herself to I guess the best way of saying is a fishing hut on the Fingers of the Dragon. Now, unless you've read the extra material and gone through the stuff on X-Ray and things, the Explore page on the Amazon Prime app, a lot of people don't know that what she's using is a Terra Ingriel. A lot of people thought, well, she was traveling. What is she doing here? But this Terra Ingriel that she has in her room, she uses the one power, and it opens up this gateway, this doorway, with this blue light, and she steps into it. And when she steps into it, she ends up in a hut with Siuan. And then later on, we're going to showcase here, Siuan has the exact replica of that Terra Ingriel in her room. So my guess is, and this is just a guess, because I don't know if this stuff in the Explore page will be 100% canon or if they're going to expand on it or anything like that. I think this may be sending them into the World of Dreams, possibly. I don't think they're actually traveling there. I think it gives them a place where they can meet together, sort of like the Dream Terra Ingriel that are used in the book series. Again, I really want to know your folks' thoughts on this, because it's not traveling per se. I don't think they're opening real gateways and going there, but I think maybe they're entering the World of Dreams. Anyway, give me your thoughts on that. All right, so now, since we're talking about dreams, we have this sequence with Moiraine and Siuan where she talks about her dreams and how the Dark One is at the eye of the world and he's weak. Now, a lot of people said, well, she's a dreamer. Now, I mentioned this in the Dusty Wheel the other night when I was on. I don't believe Siuan's a dreamer. I do 100% believe this is a nod to Ishamael. Now, Ishamael, as we know, masqueraded as the Dark One because he was virtually insane and thought he was the Dark One. And I think that that person with the burning eyes and stuff we're seeing is, you know, Ishamael, just like in the book series. I don't think they've changed that. But Ishamael was a dreamer, and a very powerful dreamer at that. Aes Sedai do ward their dreams, but it's probably not a huge stretch to think that Ishamael could break through those wards and implant thoughts and ideas into their dreams. Now, I think what he's doing here is he's probably going to the Amyrlin herself and saying, I need these people at the Eye. Make sure they go to the Eye, because he knows she's close to Moiraine, because he can't touch the world, and he has been touching their dreams all throughout the series so far. So I think this was a good plot device they used to force everyone to go to the Eye, at least in my thoughts anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you believe she's a dreamer, or do you believe that maybe Ishii is probably entering her dream and implanting those thoughts and ideas so she will send Moiraine and the Emond's Fielders, and by proxy the dragon, to the Eye? Alright, so now this. Moiraine has a conversation with Liandrin here, and she says, I know about the man you meet in North Harbor. And then look at her face afterwards. This is basically a threat to leave her alone, and she does. Some people may take this as, well, she's meeting a man, she's Red Asha, she doesn't want her sisters to find out. It's not an accepted thing for her. However, and I'm pretty sure that's what Moiraine thinks. However, in the books, Liandrin is Black Asha. She's more than likely meeting a dark friend that's giving her instructions or information, and that's why she looks so absolutely horrified, because she knows her movements are being tracked, and she is this close to being found out. And let's face it, she's found out this early, a whole arc of the story probably wouldn't happen, but I think that's what's happening here. As soon as I saw that, I kind of got a chuckle out of it. All right, now we're going to showcase this. This is, look behind Siuan on the wall. That is a copy of the same Targaryen Grail that's in Moraine's room. So, like I said, I don't think they're using it to travel to each other, but I think they're both tied to a specific place, and I'd like to think that's a Dream Shard or a piece of Teleran Rioid, and not actively opening a gateway and letting them travel to a hut, which really, in my mind, does make a whole lot of sense. However, it's been explained as magic, so to speak, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright, this is something I wanted to say. A lot of people have mentioned this. It's not really an Easter egg per se, because it was pretty blatant and open in your face, but when Siuan Sanche gave her the oaths to swear, it was to the Amyrlin. And when Moiraine swears them, she swears them right to Siuan herself. That's pretty important, because we all know that Siuan doesn't stay as the Amyrlin. She gets deposed, and then Elaida takes over. So if they kind of messed up here a little bit and had her swear to the Amyrlin, she probably never would be able to go back to the tower and never be able to do the things that she's swearing here. But if she's swearing them to Siuan, that's a bit different, because we know that Siuan does survive being deposed, and then her and Moiraine do get to meet up later on. Alright, so this is the last scene of the show, and this is when they open the Waygate. Now, there's a couple of differences here from the book that I'll probably outline in my breakdown video, but I'll mention one of them here, and the fact that Moiraine is using the one power to open the Waygate, and it's not a trefoil leaf, where she actually moves it and opens the door, is a huge change. A lot of people said, well, why is Loial there? Because you need an Ogier to open the gate. That is 100% not correct. Anyone can open the gate as long as you know where that trefoil leaf is. You need the Ogier to read the signposts inside, because Ogier are the ones that use the ways. Now, for those of you complaining there's no leaf, that looks exactly like the trefoil leaf that we see in the chapter icon. And I think that's done on purpose. So we didn't have the actual doorway, we didn't have the vines and leaves and stuff, but we have a little nod to it here. This is a nod to the book fans that are probably looking for that trefoil leaf. And I did miss it on my very first watch, and I had to see it on my second. So it is there, yes, not in exactly the same way that we thought we'd see it in the book, or in the show from the books, that's all. Alright, so that's everything I found and I wanted to cover in my Easter egg video. I'm going to be doing a breakdown video and a review here shortly. You'll see them in the coming days. The breakdown video is going to detail all the differences. Let's face it, there's quite a few in this episode that we're going to talk about. And my review, again, much like my other reviews, will be out in the next day or two. So I want to hear your folks' thoughts down below. And again, any Easter eggs that I missed that you might have picked up on, let me know. I did look very hard for Fain. I mean, he's shown up in most of the episodes so far, and I was really truly expecting him here to see him in the streets of Tar Valon. And I didn't see him anywhere. Doesn't mean he's not there, though. I just didn't see him. So if you folks happen to see him, let me know in the comments down below and give me a timestamp, because I want to go back and look for that. All right. Thank you so very much for sticking with me here to the very end. Here's to many more.